Live with Learn No Editing. It's Defense Up Crucible Edition. I'm Run 7. How you doing? Today we have an ultra narrow edition of Crucible attacks. TLC is coming in at 12 million TCP and pushing through the rankings at Plat 3. We're doing what we can with limited resources. We've got some alternative choices for this defense, moving around Gamma, deciding between the Death Seed team or if we should go with a Darkhold version, stuff like that. Lots of good stuff in this one, so stay tuned all the way to the end. Remember, if you want your defense featured on Defense Up, links are going to be down in the description. You can send me those pics. We'll get you on the list. Okay, team number 1. By the way, Pathfinder was helping me on voice today, so if I make any mistakes, you can blame him. Team number 1 is the Death Seed team in room 1. I think this is pretty good. My placement choice is usually putting Magneto, Archangel, and I believe Psylocke in the middle with Nemesis and Beast to the outside. Those are kind of hot targets trying to shut this team down. You take out Beast and then the team can't do their double taps and stuff. So that's something to do. But what we're thinking about doing is probably moving this team to room 6 because it has 2 legendaries and can benefit quite a bit in room 6. We want strikers on everyone. Magneto as a skirmisher is a big fail. His basic is absolutely bonkers in like prolonging everything it does. It's amazing what it does. So you definitely want him to combo with Beast. So get him changed to a striker, get that placement changed, and then we're going to change it to room 6 or do something else. We'll talk about other options. I'm going to give this one a B. Those ISOs are kind of wonky. Let's go to room number 2. This is the Hero Asgardian team. Now, if you're gonna use this team, and at this point, we're kind of recommending that nobody use it, but for the roster size, it's gotta go here. So if you're gonna use the Hero Asgardian, you wanna have Heimdall really small and the rest of them really big, and that way Heimdall gets killed on accident, which triggers the Valkyrie passive and makes this team really tough to get through. However, at any level, it's pretty easy to blow up, and a lot of times it can be blown up efficiently, especially if they're all the same power level. If Heimdall's just as big as everybody else, you don't accidentally kill him. You can go in there with some super efficient counters that just delete this team without them even taking a turn. This team is kind of a liability, so it's going to require a lot of fiddling in here. Let's see, everybody is a Raider. That's fine for the ISO choices. We definitely want to like build up Valkyrie and Mighty Thor for sure. If you're gonna leave this team, if you're gonna work on it, I can't really recommend anybody building them at this point. There's not a lot of value in the Hero Asgardians anymore. I don't care what that whole meta player guide says. They're just not that fantastic. So don't go nuts on them. But do what you want to do is what I'm saying. Placement on this is looking pretty good. Let's put Heimdall in the middle where he gets a little bit more splash damage, something like that. I'm gonna go with a B- on this team. It's more liability than anything, but we're forced into using it. So touch it up if you can spare those Mystic resources, but you know, we're still just coming out of that Mystic gear crunch. Moving on to team number 3. Here's something that raised a lot of discussion. We have the Tangled Web with Emma, which is a pretty tough defense, and we're pairing them up with the Web Warriors, which honestly doesn't do a lot. Basically, this team is going to pull the Unlimited X-Men most of the time on this defense, and that's okay. We want them pulling Unlimited. Then we can come in with some tricky stuff at the end, and hopefully they won't have the Unlimited to just clear it away. However, the other team that goes into this really well is the Infinity Watch, and we don't have anything that's helping us with Infinity Watch. So something we could consider is replacing Scarlet Spider with Wolverine. Wolverine's a hero mutant. He's going to take turns and remove those revives off of the Infinity Watch. Plus, he could do some damage. Other choices, TLC doesn't have the Dad Bros, but for other people, another choice would be the Dad Bros in here in place of the Web Warriors. Web Warriors just aren't doing a whole lot. They're kind of a big number, and whoever we change them out with doesn't really change the outcome. So we want to try and get hero mutants in here as much as possible. There's the opportunity to take out Emma and do a completely revamped thing with the Tangled Web or just use them for offense. But I think the best choice for TLC for sure is to change Scarlet out with Wolverine. I'm going to give this team an A-. It's not really done wrong. Like, it's kind of as good as we can get it done. So, all right, moving on to team number 4. The big problem with this is that we've got Miles in here. Swapping out Miles for America Chavez is something we do in war because America Chavez can make an entirely different defense on her own. But in Crucible, she doesn't do that. What she does do is she adds some damage to this team, but most importantly, she adds a lot of health to them, makes them survive longer, makes them soak up more hits. This team is totally beatable. It's just that they're gonna take a lot longer to beat if you put America Chavez in here instead of Miles. So let's get Miles out of here, put America Chavez in. We're gonna change the placement. It's gonna go Miss Marvel in the middle, America Chavez and Squirrel Girl over her shoulder, and then we're gonna put Kate and Echo to the outside on that placement. We might want to move this team someplace else, but it's probably good in latent power. I'm going to give this team a B-. Needs a lot of work. The bio temperament room. So there's a lot of bio characters here, obviously. And we kind of found that this team is totally useless, but it's also useless on offense, so it's a great filler for defense. I think that Surfer could stand a gear upgrade. JJ's doing JJ things, and it doesn't really matter what you do to her. We don't need to put any more gear on her or anything. The placement isn't going to matter so much. I mean, there's just not much more you can do with this team unless you want to really build it up and then use it for offense going into, I believe it counters Death Seed or something. I don't remember. Anyway, there's a use for this team on offense, but definitely not at this power level. It's going to take a substantial amount of investment in it, and that's not the way we play Marvel Strike Force anymore. You don't just build old junk because you think it'll be fun. So it is what it is. There's not much way to improve this anymore. The ISOs are fine. You've got 2 people putting out vulnerables, 3 strikers, although JJ's not necessarily soaking anything up. You could make JJ a skirmisher if you wanted to, but I don't think she needs the focus boost. It'd just be to put more vulnerables out there for Captain Marvel and Spider-Woman to double tap into. It's good enough. It sucks that we can't do something better, but it's where we're at. I'm actually going to give this a team an A for TLC's roster. It's just here as a holding position. We are going to be moving this out of room 5 though, and doing some different things. Over here, we have Gamma in 6. Now, Gamma's doing great things in 6 and is a wonderful team in 6. These ISOs are fine. Alternatively, you could make the entire team healer. A lot of people are doing that. They're getting some good results with healer. If they do get beat, it still has an efficiency deficit. So I think healer might be the way to go. Another thing we can do here is move Gamma to 5. We're going to put the Death Seed in 6. Gamma in 5 has different counters than Gamma in 6. It plays out differently with the power levels, all sorts of the timing. It's all together different. So you can trick people by moving Gamma into 5. Putting Death Seed in 6 with those 2 legendary characters taking advantage of the Tales of Legend bonus. It's something to do. Another option that we discussed is removing the Death Seed team so that you can use them on offense and instead putting Darkhold with Red Hulk in here. So a Red Hold team in 6, which is a vicious team. And then in room 5, you would put the Gamma team and replace Red Hulk with either Captain America or Captain Sam, or maybe a Surfer. Probably want to build up your Surfer because he's only gear tier 12. Somebody fast that does something that makes an impact so that this team doesn't just get clipped off by an uncanny. I personally like the Captain America because of that roaming taunt. I think it works really well. So if you're considering building that Rebirth team, you could put Captain America in here, move the whole team to 5, put Red Hulk and Darkhold on room 6. So there's some options. As is, I think this team is probably an A-. It needs a placement adjustment. So it's going to be Green Hulk, Red Hulk, She-Hulk, and then the others on the outside. Otherwise, pretty good. So there's some options for TLC and there's some options for you, the viewer, if you think you might have something close to this. Remember, TLC is working at 12 million in Plat 3, and so we're limited on the choices that we have, but we're going to do the best that we can. Remember, guys, don't just have a good game. Be good to yourselves and others too, and I'll see you next time. Bye.